Hey guys, before we get things rolling, I just wanted to let you know that we're doing a bit of a promotion with the folks here at Flock Designs. They make this fun little pithy shirt as well as a bunch of other stuff. They got mugs and stuff like that. So if you order with the promo code popcorn15, you get 15% off, and then we get a little piece of that. Helps support the show. So yeah, that'd be great. I'll throw their info down in the show notes, and enjoy.
Hey everybody, welcome to Ticket Stubs and Popcorn. I'm Peter.
And I'm Frank. How's it going, everybody?
Today's featured actor is Woody Harrelson.
Woody Harrelson. I like that dramatic pause.
You like
right
that one?
there. It's
I
like
tried.
we're just grasping. So,
yeah.
Something to think. Woody Harrelson is great. That'll be fun. Something to think about toward the for the end there.
Sure.
Our little ending question there. Let's I've been thinking about like locations. You know, since I've been out here in California, there have been some things that are like, oh yeah, that was in that thing. And being from Massachusetts, there's always something that you see like, but then some stuff doesn't necessarily look the way it does or is where it is.
It doesn't translate to reality.
Thoughts on like movie locations and TV locations versus reality. So just what your thoughts are on that. It's not a straight up question.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
So
I'll give
so
that some
so
thought.
there's that, and I'll start off talking about Woody Harrelson.
Sure.
So love Woody Harrelson, always been great. Loved him since Cheers, and I think that he has very nimbly been able to sort of brush off that comic character. Although he's still very funny.
Yes.
I think that as he's progressed, he's become sort of a his character's humor is a little bit more sardonic and a little bit more biting and a little bit more cynical. But my first pick is going to be in Natural Born Killers.
Okay.
Because that's one of those early movies where you saw him not being Woody from the bar.
It's big and splashy.
So, so it is. It was a really, really, really nice surprise, and he is crazy. That whole movie is crazy.
Yeah.
But he's just so great in that, and it's great to see that. Even then, when he came again, coming off of like the lighthearted dude from Cheers, that he's able to like bring something that's so intensely messed up. Really, really fantastic. I love him in that. And again, that's just one more case study in my thesis that comic actors can do drama better than dramatic actors can go backwards. I wouldn't say backwards, or shift to comedy. So if anybody has a dramatic actor who has made like a lot of comic turns, I would love to hear what you think, because I don't really have. So my next Woody Harrelson would be Zombieland. He's great in Zombieland. He's funny.
Yeah.
All right. He's definitely funny. He's got a good rapport and sort of big brother, annoyed big brother with Jesse Eisenberg thing, and especially in the first one, not so much the sequel, but in the first one where you slowly but surely learn about his kid and stuff like that, and it's a nice little sort of shade of vulnerability in there.
Yeah, that movie has a good tone. There's a good tenor through that movie, and that really
because that movie could be. And I hate zombie stuff. I really do. I can count on one hand the number of zombie things that I like. Other stuff I usually just...
It's a fine line, and you've got to run it the right way.
Right, and I'm just rooting for the zombies. Like, could you please just kill these people? I hate them all.
Just eat their brains and get it over with.
So, but I love him in Zombieland. He's really great. And, that movie does a fine balance between... It doesn't get too melodramatic. No. It doesn't get too over the top.
Right.
Funny. It's just right down the line. Great. It's really well done. After that, I have to say his, and don't know if you ever saw it on HBO, True Detective.
I know the series, but I haven't watched it.
Really, really
But,
great.
yeah.
Especially the season that he's in with, oh my God, McConaughey. And McConaughey's just like weird and kind of crazy. and to see Woody Harrelson just be sort of like, oh, this fucking guy, he's driving me. You know, he's not necessarily, he's sort of like the straight man, but
He's
it's not
almost
like,
the voice of reason.
right, but
Yeah.
it's not like
Yeah.
like Matthew McConaughey's like a funny, like haha character. He's odd and he's got weird mannerisms and ways of looking at things. And Woody Harrelson just doesn't have the patience or the time, and you can see it just simmering, like just right under the surface. He's gonna lose his mind on this guy. He doesn't buy his esoteric bullshit. He's just killing me, dude. And it's just it's really, really good. I think that is the best of the True Detective series. Then like the next, again, you haven't seen it.
No.
But it like shifts to like a totally different like set of people.
Yeah.
In the next season. So, but he's great. He really has turned out to be this really reliable. He's got Venom coming out this weekend.
That is coming up.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's really cool to see him get something kind of like fun and iconic like that. So he's going to be a lot of fun in that. I think that's going to be a nice combination of his ability to do, you know, comedy and maybe even a little bit of dark comedy. And,
Yeah.
You know, and add a good actor level of stuff that, you know, comic book movies have been getting the last decade. So that's my that's
Very
my
good.
Woody story.
I can tell you right now, we got six different movies.
Really? All right. Well, that's always fun.
It is fun.
That is.
I
Really
like that
fun.
one.
So,
All
right.
right,
Go for
I'll
it.
go. I just want to say you made just a great point with Woody Harrelson, the actor. He has been able to do a lot from those beginnings as Woody, Woody Boyd, I guess, from Cheers. You know, wonderful, charming character in over his head sometimes in terms of his mental scope, but
he dumb.
yeah, exactly. But
There's no ifs, ands, about buts about it.
It's so interesting that he could have been. I'm not gonna say derailed, but he could have been typecast, and then that could have limited him for a few years before he was able to break out. But he's been able to get good roles and then get some very serious ones, important roles.
Right. Yeah.
And good for him. Just
Most definitely.
That's a great thing for him. So I'm gonna start with I'm going to stick with comedy for the first one. Nothing like his Cheers character at all, but I think this is an underrated movie. I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me with this one. I'm going to go with Kingpin.
There it is.
And I love him in the movie. I love Bill Murray in the movie. Randy Quaid is okay in the movie.
You know what though?
But though he serves a different function.
You know what I really
You know what I
think
mean?
Randy Quaid, in the credits of any movie he's in, I really think he just should be Randy Quaid.
As Randy Quaid.
No. Randy Quaid, he's okay. You know, I can't think of a Randy Quaid movie I hate.
I can
Not one that I love.
I
It's
can
just
think
like
of a couple of roles where he is good, and I'll be honest, but
it's not his show.
those are earlier. But he in Kingpin, I really love the Roy Munson character, the Woody Harrelson character. He's a sad sack. He's a loser. I mean, he brings it upon himself, and that's how he got to where he is. But I just like he's up against it in a lot of scenes. He's got his own problems. Like I said, he makes his own problems 99% of the time. And but it's just fun when he's juxtaposed against one side of it with the Randy Quaid character, but then on the other side, that Bill Murray character.
Yeah.
And it's just that Ernie McCracken is Bill Murray. But he's fun in that movie.
Yeah.
At least to me,
he is.
he's fun in the movie. And I do think the movie's a little better than people give it credit for. At least to me. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. But I enjoy it. I think it's funny. And I think he's a large part of the success in that movie. Because he's in many more scenes than the Bill Murray character. But I enjoy it. I enjoy it. It's fun. That's going to take me to a completely different role. 3 Billboards Outside of Ebbing, Missouri. The movie's a good movie. Great movie. I find it very frustrating sometimes because so many of the characters in this thing they're all flawed. I shouldn't say all flawed. Most of them are flawed. Almost everybody is morally ambiguous, and because of it, it's tough to side with people. It's easy to be against certain characters, but it's tough to always be on the side of one person in particular because you're like, well, that's not the right thing to do, ooh, are they still gonna do this? That doesn't seem right. And anyway, but his character, he's the chief of police, Chief Willoughby, and it's he's not sympathetic all the time because he's allowed certain things to be going on within the past in the police department. So he feels he has no other way to deal with it, but it still kind of fosters a certain thing that's going on. And he is trying to do his job. He's just trying to do it the way that he thinks is the most successful. And
he's looking for the path of least resistance, regardless of where.
And then, as you find out in the movie, I don't think he is following the path of least resistance because of his illness. I think he's always been that way, but we find out something about him where he has an illness, and then he becomes a little sympathetic because of that. But he's still allowed stuff to happen, and he's very good. I enjoy his work because he gets to he stands up to different people in different ways, and there's that one scene where it's fairly recent, maybe 5 years old or so, but so see it if you haven't. There's the one scene where he's talking to the Frances McDormand character, who's fantastic in the movie, and all of a sudden you just see a physical remnant of his illness. He just coughs on it. He can't help it. It just happens. He's in the middle of this very important conversation, one-on-one. And all of a sudden, he just coughs, and there's speckles of blood on her face, and he's like, and it just stops, and he just looks at her, and he goes, "I'm so sorry." You know what I mean? Like, it just sidetracks the whole thing. Right. And she's just like, "It's okay, it's okay." And it just changes both of them so fast. It's a really
it's a good movie.
Yeah, it's a good movie. It's tough to be comforted in any way in this movie. It's not like a feel-good movie at all. No. And I think he really holds up well in his performance. So,
what else you get?
That's what got there. And then it was tough to, because he was able to get some.
It's always tough to narrow down. Yeah,
I mean, he had
a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, some good stuff. The Messenger was a good one. Didn't quite make my thing. I do love his character, in Solo, a Star Wars
Yeah.
story. I
Yeah.
think that's the title.
Yeah.
Solo, a Star Wars story. He's Beckett, and he's very much like what we saw earlier in the franchise with Han Solo. They try to mimic it that way.
Try to make him a Han Solo that Han Solo learns from. But
You got it, but there is a big difference.
yeah, he's a jerk.
Exactly.
I can't
No,
think of it.
exactly.
He's just awful.
And there are certain tropes that they use in the Star Wars franchise, and you think that's what's going to maybe happen at the end,
'cause
where
he's
he's going to
worse
come
than
back.
Solo ever was.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what I like about this character. I don't mean he's redeeming. What I like about it is the fact that as
He
he's
stays
acting,
bad.
he's performing this.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so he is like whatever you want to call him, pirate, scoundrel. Those are terms, though, that get used for Han Solo in the movie.
No,
but
so-
he's not that kind of scoundrel.
No, he's a jerk.
He's a bad scoundrel.
Yeah. He's an asshole.
And is
He's
he
a
a
bad
pirate?
guy.
Is he a pirate? Yeah. He's like a two-timing, lying,
Yeah.
thieving, murdering
Bastard.
pirate. And it's not so when we hear these terms used for Han Solo,
Yeah, he's
they're
not
in an endearing way.
at all.
He
So,
is not.
I
And that's what I think. I kept waiting, partly because I think of the success of Woody's performance. I kept waiting for him to do the little turnaround, to come back into the fold, like Han was able to do in the original. And it didn't turn out that way, and I was like, okay, I really wasn't expecting quite that.
Yeah.
And so,
but the thing is, though,
I
you have
like
to, because we don't hear of him or see him later. There's
Yes.
so many things that
there has to be some reason.
like with all of this Star Wars stuff, when they kind of go back into the past,
Yeah.
like you need to kill a lot of these people.
Yeah,
Because we never hear of them or see them again.
Right.
So
and especially in the Solo movie.
yeah,
Okay, Han obviously is coming back.
Right.
Chewie's obviously coming back. Lando's obviously coming back. Yeah, where's Beckett? Yeah, he never comes
No.
back.
no. But also Kira, you
Yeah.
hear from her again, so you wonder what goes on with her. So it'll
Yeah,
be
and certain
interesting
names
to
get
see.
dropped, like
Yeah,
Ross.
and you
this
don't
that one, but
necessarily-
we don't need to. Yeah,
You don't necessarily. I mean, she could just disappear from his life and the rest of our
Exactly.
lives, and we don't need to know anything that goes on with her. And I think that she shows up further in the comics and stuff, and in the novel. No, but anyway, so yeah, no, those are a good three.
yeah.
there
I
for-
loved it when. Well, you went first. I loved it when you were giving your picks, and they're all great ones. And I was like, hey, we got six different ones.
Well, you know what it is though, like his performance in Solo is great. It's not his performance I have a problem with. It's his. This is so picayune.
Which one?
It's not his performance that I have a problem with in Solo. It's his casting that I have a problem with in Solo. Because it's like when I was talking about John Cusack in The Butler. It's just like, hey,
Oh,
it's John
Okay.
Cusack. And for me, with Woody Harrelson in Solo, it was just like, oh, Woody Harrelson. I mean, because the Star Wars franchise for so long
yeah.
did so much with putting in relative unknowns.
Lesser known.
Yeah. So, and even when they started doing
Yeah, a couple of
the
bigger
like,
names.
yeah, the third trilogy, no
Yeah.
one had really heard of Daisy Ridley or
No,
John
no,
Boyega
no,
or anything
definitely.
like that.
Yeah.
So that sort of continues to that when you've got something like Solo, and we like I had seen Alden, whatever his last name is.
Yeah.
I'd seen him in I don't know some other. I think it was Hail Caesar. But he's not like a huge guy.
Right.
So, but then it's just like Woody Harrelson is also in this, and Paul Bettany for the most part was like he's Jarvis's voice, and you might have seen him. You know what I mean? So,
Right.
and you knew him because he's done a lot of other smaller dramatic things.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
so, but Woody Harrelson is probably the biggest name in Solo when you think about it. Yeah.
Possibly.
You
yeah.
know. So
Yeah.
anyway, I mean Glover, yeah, he's good and he's pretty well known.
I love him in that
but
movie.
yeah,
too.
oh, and he's good in that. And I was totally against that casting, but Woody Harrelson in that was sort of felt a little take me out.
But I liked it because you had a little past experience of him, and I think that helped trick me. Like I said, I was expecting it to somehow be his character be redeemed. Oh, he's going to come around, he'll save the day somehow, or at least help. Yeah,
Yeah, no.
But he fooled me.
All right, location.
Location. Okay, it's funny. Like you said, we both are from Massachusetts, and we both made transition differently out here to California. There's certain things like when you are more familiar with something, like the physical location, and then you see a representation of it on in a movie or TV, you sometimes go, "Oh, that doesn't really, not exactly. 1 and 1 don't equal 2 right there."
Yeah, exactly.
And other times you go, "Okay, that part made sense," but as soon as they took that left turn, that didn't make sense.
No.
So yeah, there's a few things that are sticking in my mind. One of them is the movie The Fighter, which was filmed in my hometown in Lowell, Massachusetts. And so yeah, there'd be a scene or two where you'd go, "Yeah, that makes sense, and this makes sense." And then there are other times where he's like leaving the gym and he's jogging over a bridge, but he ends up on a different side of a different bridge, and you're like, wait a minute, that's not near that part of town anymore.
Yeah, it's
so
like,
funny. How did he just do that? And so there are other things too. I remember when I was growing up, I used to watch a lot of Dragnet, and so this idea in my head of late 60s, early 70s of what LA was. Yeah. It's a big city, but I didn't know particulars at all. And all of a sudden, Joe Friday, the Jack Webb character, is giving us a running timetable of,
right.
At 10:41 we got the phone call, blah, blah, blah. Wait a minute.
That wasn't
Isn't
possible.
there any traffic?
Right.
Because it's going to take an hour and 15 to get over there. How did this happen?
It's so funny. I noticed it. One of the things that sticks in my head with that is the totally underappreciated movie Night and Day. Love that movie.
Yes, you do.
When there's like an action sequence and it's sort of on the Zakim Bridge and like going kind of like into downtown. And but like so much stuff happens, and then like things settle down, and then it's just like, the fuck are they doing over there? That's like an hour. Like that's nowhere near.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, it's just so funny when that happens. It just it was just I don't know, locations like that. And when speaking of Woody Harrelson, when you go into Cheers. Like the Cheers in Boston, when you go in there, it's like it's nothing like that at all. Yeah. Nothing like that at all.
And the other thing is there's like historic stuff that you'll see, and I like when I was in Washington D.C. on just a tourism thing, and it was at Ford's Theater, and you see where Lincoln's assassinated, and you're like, that's like pretty small. That's pretty tight. Yeah. Or, but then sometimes in a movie or a historical, depiction, it seems like there's a lot more room to move around and walk and all this sort of stuff. And the same thing, just as a related thing. All of a sudden, I'm thinking of like when I was in Dallas, and you see Dealey Plaza where Kennedy was assassinated. It's like, the window is, because it's a museum now, the window is kind of small. The whole area is not spread out. And you always, like, when you see it sometimes, it always looks like it's bigger. More spread out. It goes further in this.
Yeah, and when you see how small, it's just like, oh, you know what, maybe that wasn't that impressive a shot.
Exactly. I know it. You go, maybe it could be done because everything's a little tighter.
I could have done it.
So it's interesting when you see stuff and either in reality or just from our own interesting
The
locations.
movies.
And then the whole thing with Seinfeld, which is so iconic, that TV series, and it's not always, but it's almost always 99% of X amount of years has always been set in New York, and you get this real sense of New York personalities, New York City little landmarks here and there, but it's actually filmed in L.A., just recreated, and you're like, wow, because it almost really looks like, oh, that really could have been done in New York, just in, you know.
Yeah.
So there's certain things you're like, location.
Let's do the bucket. Who's next?
Who is next?
All right.
That'll be fun. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So go see Venom this weekend. If that opens. So anyway, that's all we got. Have a great day. Thanks for watching and subscribing and listening to the podcast and checking out our sponsor, Flock Designs. Knows what they're up to.
If you like some merch from us.
If you want some merch from us, yeah, we got merch too. So I guess that's it. Thanks so much. See ya.
Take care.